Welcome. I'm Patricia Sargent, and this is Into the Writer's Cave, the show where we chat with fun and fabulous authors about their stories. Today, we're going into the Writer's Cave with fan favorite Donna McMeans. So, whether a reader picks up one of your historicals or one of your paranormals, it's always a Donna McMeans book. So, what experience would you want? Are you giving to readers when they read your book? What should they expect from a Donna McMeans book?
Well, when I started writing, I was always figured what I wanted to do is to make women who have been married a number of years. I've been married next month, it'll be 46 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I don't even look like I'm 46 years old.
You got married in 5 days.
Yeah, right. Notice I'm not like really close to the family. It'll be 46 years. So I figure I know something about marriage. And I know that it changes over time. And when you first meet and you first fall in love, oh, that's a magical, magical time. And what I really want women who are in marriages, who are in good marriages, whatnot, but they may have forgotten those experiences, to kind of relive them by reading my book, about remembering what it felt like to have someone willing to sacrifice just to win your favor, someone who was willing to change to meet the sort of person that you needed, and how it felt, how you felt like you were walking a tightrope, a line between, you didn't want to fall deep in love. You were protecting your vulnerabilities, but at the same time opening them up. So it's an interesting time, I think. So I wanted readers to experience that. But I think more recently, what I really want is for readers to read my books, and after they read the sensuous scenes, the big thing, to close the book and go up and find the person they love and just relive all that for real. So I want those two things. I also want you to laugh, smile, because that's what life is all about. So those are the two experiences I really look for. I go for the laugh, I go for the smile, but I also try to weave in there a very sensuous, and I'm emphasizing the sensuous because it's not that there's a ton of sex in my books. I don't write erotica, but I do write emotion. And so my books are very emotional and want to draw you in to feeling what the characters are feeling every step of the way.
I think that's an excellent experience to offer readers. And I have gotten that from your books too. I won't get too personal, but your books are they're a treat. Now, you write historicals, you write paranormals. Are there other subgenres that you have considered writing or would like to write?
Well, when I started out, now Patricia knows this, but your readers might not. I'm a CPA. I'm an accountant. During the day, that's what I do. And I figured when I first started writing that with that background, that business background, I should be writing suspense. I know about fraud. I know how fraud occurs. I figured, I could do something with that. And so I thought I was going to be a suspense writer. In fact, my very first book, which has never been published, it's still under the bed. My very first book was a finalist in the Golden Heart. Romance Writers of America has a big contest every year. And for unpublished authors, they could win the Golden Heart, which is a little necklace, a little medallion on a necklace. And the competition is very fierce. It's an international contest. And I finaled with my very first book.
Wow.
I figured
that's very rare.
I thought it was. I thought I was special. I was stupid. I thought it meant that I was meant to be published. And I had heard that if you write one good book that would interest the publisher, you have to write two. because they're going to ask you, what else do you have? And you want to have other books behind it. So I wrote a second book, which I did publish. I self-published. No, Samhain purchased that one. And then I self-published it. But it's called In a Heartbeat. And that's a story about an accountant. I figured I'd go to the write what you know stage. And it's about an accountant that lives in a small town that has had a heart transplant. And while watching TV, one day she sees the show. And this is the truth. This is what inspired the book. There was a cardiologist on this talk show. And the cardiologist says that memories live in other places other than your brain. Memories can also reside in the heart. And he has done enough heart transplants to know that sometimes the recipient of a heart will have some of the memories from the donor. Well, this is where we cue the music. And so I thought, oh, this is cool. I should do this. But where's the story? So you have to twist things. We are very twisted people, we authors. And so you have to twist things. So what I did in my book is it was not the heart recipient that sees this talk show. It's this serial killer. And he sees it, and he knows that one of his victims, his first victim who knew him well, had a heart transplant. And he's afraid that the recipient will remember him as being this serial killer because he's gotten away with it. And so he sets out to find this poor, innocent accountant to make sure that she doesn't remember anything. And that was the basis for In a Heartbeat. It was the Write What You Know book. So, however, it was after that I ended up writing historicals. I used to read historicals. I loved historical novels, but I was afraid of all the research that would go along with historicals. So I was playing it safe. I was writing contemporary stories. But this contest came up. It was Lori Foster had a contest. I don't know if you remember that one.
I do.
She had a contest, and it was, you had to submit like 4 or 5 pages. It wasn't very many of a sensual, of a scene, a very sensual scene. And she would choose a winner from the historical side, and she'd choose a winner from the contemporary side every week. And then those winners she would send to her editor, who at the time was Kate Duffy, who has since passed. But Kate Duffy had a reputation for publishing those stories in like a novella form or whatnot. And so and Lori had said that she didn't have very many historical entries, which meant the odds would be better for being a winner, right? So I was going to write historical, and I had this idea, but I didn't know anything about a period of time to put it in. And I started doing the research, and I started falling in love with the Victorian time period. And I totally missed any deadlines that ever existed for that contest. And so, but hey, I did what I needed to do to write the book. So,
what was it about the Victorian time frame that particularly appealed to you?
They wore more clothes. No, seriously, that's the reason why I chose them. I have since found other things to really enjoy about them. It turned out, I think, personally, the best time period to use. But my idea, I knew for my sensuous story that I was going to turn into Lori Foster. I had an idea for a reluctant striptease. The heroine really didn't want to do this, but she had to for some reason. She had to get information of some sort. And but you can't do that in a contemporary piece. We don't wear enough clothes, right? And it's not that big of a deal anymore. So I needed a time period where it was when the morals were different. And I did some research, and I found that the Victorians really wore a ton of clothes. And that's what I needed, because my entire novel this is the novel, okay, is a striptease. So I needed a lot. Just a top, a bottom, and some underwear wouldn't do it. But I really loved it. So after I did it, after I wrote the first book, Mrs. Brimley, when I started writing Bound by Moonlight, I thought, well, I'm not going to waste all that research. So I set it in the same time period. It's kind of nice for suspense because there's no such thing as cell phones. And there's sometimes, well, they have to chase each other on horses, which is much more romantic than hopping in a car, I think. And it just had a lot of things that worked out for Bound by Moonlight. And so that's, I've just, after those two have taken off, I've kind of gotten stuck in the Victorian time period, but I'm creeping up, I'm getting closer and closer to Downton Abbey, so we shall see, we get older and so does that time limit, I suppose, but I'm still in the 1800s right now.